Good afternoon, and thank you once again for joining us for 3Squares Live. We are thrilled you are here. We're hard to believe the June edition already. We're going to blink and it'll be Christmas. I am Charlie Arnott with Look East and the Center for Food Integrity, dedicated to helping the food system be trustworthy, with my two co-hosts, Kevin Ryan and Susan Schwally.
And I'm Susan Schwally. I've been in food market research for about 25 years, IRI, Circana, MPD Group. And now I'm working with some smaller research companies to go to market.
And I'm Kevin Ryan with Malachite Strategy and Research, and we help CPGs, retailers, and ingredient companies at the front end of innovation and strategy.
And I am lucky today to have the guest. And this is someone I've been a huge fan of her work and her personally since I had the opportunity to meet her. She's one of those individuals who understands you can do well by doing good. And that's a rare person in today's environment. So I'm a big fan of her and her work. Sarah Evanega, she's Vice President of External Relations at Okanagan Specialty Fruits, the company that developed the Arctic apple and that continues to lead in fruit tree biotechnology. Before that, she served as the Director for Stakeholder Communication at a food startup, Pairwise. She worked in the public sector in various roles at Cornell University, where she still holds an adjunct faculty appointment in plant breeding and genetics. While she was at Cornell, she served as the founding executive director of the Cornell Alliance for Science, a global communications and capacity building initiative focused on improving access to agricultural biotechnology. That's where we first met. She invited me to attend a planning meeting for that, and I was humbled and impressed to be there because I can't spell DNA. Sarah is the 2021 Borlaug Cast Communication Award winner, and in 2020, and that's a big deal, by the way, to be the Cast Communication Award winner. She received the Mary Clutter Leadership in Science Public Service Award from the American Society of Plant Biologists. She also received her PhD in plant biology from Cornell and a BA in biology from Reed College. Sarah, we are thrilled to have you join us today on 3Squares.
I'm so happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to a really fun conversation.
Yeah, it should be exciting. And she sent snacks. She sent
snacks. I'm a good mom. I always have snacks.
It's the important thing. And they aren't Goldfish or Cheerios. We actually have some of the Granny Smith's apple slices and the Golden Delicious apple slices. So we will do our very best to crunch off microphone while we're going through the podcast today. But you never know. We might pick up a rampant or an off camera, an off microphone. Gosh, I sound like the president of the United States. An off mic crunch of an apple. So you never know what's going to happen. And we also are going to test some of the cider that she sent. So we're drinking for work, not at work, which is a wonderful thing. And we'll talk about those different varieties. But Sarah, welcome again. Thrilled you are here. Big fan of your work and look forward to the conversation. And then, of course, Kevin's quiz. So, Susan, I'm going to let you kick it off.
Yeah, great. Sarah, thanks for joining us. What a great background. And as Charlie noticed in your said in your introduction, you've worked in private sector, public sector, global development, academia. So what excites you about the work Okanagan is doing?
Yeah, well, again, thank you so much for the invitation to come and be part of your very fun and informative podcast. I really appreciate it. So absolutely, I've been so fortunate across my career to be able to really do work that I feel passionate about and that I feel like can really have an impact on improving people and the planet. So whether it's in my work at Cornell University in the public sector or now in the private sector, I've really been able to do good work for the good of betterment of people. So feel really fortunate about that. And certainly my work with Okanagan Specialty Fruits is no exception. So Okanagan Specialty Fruits is the developer of the Arctic apple, as Charlie said. And we were really built on a mission to reduce food waste and food loss. So when our founder and CEO, Neil Carter, first started, he worked actually also in agricultural development in a number of different countries around the world, helping people build farms and be more agriculturally productive. And when he came back home to British Columbia, he and his wife started an orchard of their own and noted that about 30 to 40% of apples are wasted along the supply chain. And so our company was really built on a mission to do something about that and solve that food loss and food waste challenge. And in looking for a solution to that problem, That's when he discovered biotechnology. So this is the late 1990s, and he realized that if we could essentially turn off the gene that causes browning in apples, polyphenol oxidase, there's your big science term for the day, you could actually really reduce the amount of waste that happens from finger bruising when apples are picked in the orchard, bin bruising when apples are being moved around in bins, all the way to the consumer, where we have an extended shelf life. And of course, as you can see, you can slice an apple and it doesn't brown, and it lasts 28 days shelf life, so significantly increased shelf life. So that's really the principle that the company was founded on. And then beyond that, an added benefit in terms of our sustainability goals is that when you ship an apple, a whole apple, you're shipping a significant amount of apple that no one will ever eat, right? But we are shipping only the parts of the apple that people are going to consume, and that reduces freight weight by up to 30%. So another huge sustainability benefit. And then finally, obviously there's a huge nutrition benefit. So our goal is to put apples in more places, find more uses for apples, find ways to make it more convenient, easy, accessible for people to choose this healthy option. And that's, for me as a mom of 3 young kids, really important to be able to make produce more convenient, more snackable, more packable, more accessible.
I'm curious of the whole idea of biotechnology in general. I mean, you mentioned just, I wouldn't say minor things right there, but, major things. When you think about biotechnology, what advances are you excited about, either coming or that are already here that maybe most of us don't even know about? Because I mean, you're right there on the forefront of it. So tell us a little bit about that, especially for people in our audience that don't know much about it.
Yeah, well, I think that the exciting thing right now is that there's just so many more players and so much more innovation happening. And that's really exciting, because that's when we're going to get, many more benefits. Everybody has their pet project, their pet idea, their challenge that they want to address and solve. And so the more innovators we have in this space, the better off we'll be. As we look back on some of the innovations that we've seen already come to fruition, there's a lot of really exciting applications of biotechnology that have real environmental sustainability benefits. Applications that can help us do agriculture in a much more regenerative, cleaner, and greener way. So I think about the efforts that are being undertaken to create more climate resilient crops, crops that are going to need fewer resources, less water, for example, which is going to be so important, or fewer pesticides. And we know that's really important for consumers. Consumers want to be able to purchase crops that they know have been treated with fewer pesticides. And so we can build disease-resistant crops with biotechnology that don't require so many pesticides. So there's a range of different applications. I personally am really excited about all of the efforts ongoing around the world to try to achieve crops that don't need synthetic nitrogen fertilizer. This is sort of one of the holy grails of plant science, and that would be a huge environmental win for agriculture. So there's all kinds of exciting innovations. The disease resistance crops are really important. We see some interesting applications across the developing world that are really starting to have impact. I think about the cowpea project in Nigeria, for example. Cowpea, hugely important source of protein in Nigeria. We call it black-eyed peas here. And I don't know how often you eat black-eyed peas, probably not that often. We used to eat them on New Year's Day, right, for good luck. But they're a really important source of protein in a country like Nigeria. And so there's now a BT cowpea, a cowpea that can protect itself from a pod-boring insect. And so that's a huge win for farmers in Nigeria. And then we look at another application of BT technology that is now sort of 10 years into sort of in the field in Bangladesh. So BT eggplant has had great impact there, both in terms of improving the health of the farmer and the farming family, as well as the environment. So with that application now, having 10 years of data to draw on, we see that there's been about a 62% reduction in pesticide use due to that single technology, and farmer incomes have increased by 6-fold, which is huge. Wow. So that basically means, a farmer going from making $3 a day to $18 a day. So hugely transformative for, you know, the well-being of those Bangladeshi farmers. So all kinds of great environmental benefits. And then today we're starting to see some of these consumer benefits come forward, like the Arctic apple, like the pink pineapple that we see in supermarkets now, like the purple tomato, these products that have consumer benefits, health benefits, and are just exciting new innovations in produce.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I'm excited about, we're gonna take a refreshment break after this insightful comment that I'm going to have. But I think one of the things that I'm excited about is what you're doing is actually solving a problem. Some of these products that are coming to market are really solutions looking for a problem, and I think it's less likely for them to be successful if the application just doesn't have a specific benefit. You mentioned, by the way, Kevin and Susan, one of the things that I didn't mention about the Alliance for Science is it worked primarily in Africa, trying to help those who were subsistence farmers increase productivity to move beyond basic subsistence through capacity building and capability building. So it's really targeted in parts of the world where the impact is most needed and can have the greatest outcome. But one of those other technologies that I'm excited about, you mentioned the ability to replace synthetic nitrogen, and that's Pivot Bio's microbe that allows cereal plants to capture nitrogen from the atmosphere and apply it to the plant's roots. And now it's on an on-seed application. So your fertilizer comes with the seed. So, I mean, there's just some really, really fun stuff that's out there that, again, the consumer benefits like the Arctic apple, which are fantastic, and then the other productive benefits, which can fundamentally change subsistence farming. If all of a sudden you have enough income where you can send your kids to school, you change the entire social structure of that community and improve it. So it's pretty exciting,
Especially your girls.
Yes. Well, and the majority of farmers around the world are women. The overwhelming majority of farmers around the world are women. And people don't frequently realize that because we're accustomed to a different farming model here in the United States. Okay. We're going to take a little refreshment break here. We're each going to try a different kind of cider. And Sarah, while we're doing that, why don't you tell us about the recent award that the Okanagan ciders won?
Yeah, well, let me back up a little bit because a lot of people don't know that Okanagan Specialty Fruits is making cider. So we're, well known for our Arctic apples, our non-browning apples. But again, we're trying to find more purposes for more apples, right? To be able to find, places to put apples where they haven't been before, whether that's as a fresh cut product on a salad bar or whether it's in the form of a cider. So in that spirit, last year we opened a cidery in Wenatchee, Washington, just down the road from where our production facilities are. And we are now producing Endless Orchard cider made with Arctic apples. And, it's really unlike any other cider experience that I've ever had personally. We don't make our cider with cider apples. We make the cider with Arctic apples. And it turns out that non-browning attribute of our apples transfers all kind of benefits when you actually make a juice. So when you make the juice, it doesn't turn brown. You can imagine like a little clear jar of apple juice that you might see in the supermarket. They're brown. Ours isn't brown. It's a beautiful color juice that has some attributes of the color of the skin of the apple, whether it's a golden or a granny or a Fuji. And when you then make a hard cider from that juice, you get a very clean, exquisite champagne-like drinking experience that is unlike any other hard cider that I've ever tasted. So you all are tasting it now, 3 different varieties. Super proud to say that last week at the Northwest Cider Cup, our cidery was voted #1 best new cidery of the year. And one of our 6 varieties of cider, the Boundless Blueberry Basil, took home a gold medal. So I think one of you has the Boundless Blueberry.
I do.
Charlie
I do.
does.
Yeah, and I have to
lucky
say,
Charlie.
I have to say, I was a little suspect when I saw it because many times when I taste a beverage like this, it's overpowered by the flavor. And that's not the case here at all. It's very subtle. You can taste it. But the first thing I noticed was what you mentioned, Sarah. It's very effervescent. It's very light. It's very easy to drink. It is very different from some of the sweeter, more syrupy, and I don't, they aren't syrup, but more syrupy in a different way, right? Than this is. This is much lighter. It's much more refreshing than some of the other ciders I've had. And there's a hint of blueberry basil. It's there, but it's not overwhelming. Like when people make raspberry coffee, I get a headache, right? It's so overwhelming.
Raspberry coffee?
Oh God, it's horrible. It's just
Yeah.
horrible. But this is really
And,
wonderful.
No one should be
and
doing
you're
that.
drinking it out of our can, right? But if you pour it into a transparent glass, you'll see the beautiful color that the blueberry imparts to the cider. So that's one of the lovely aspects
Sarah,
of
these
it.
are
It's one of our most popular cider varieties, the blueberry basil. So, yeah. And I should say
Susan?
that we just opened a tasting room in Chelan, Washington, where you can go and
Nice.
relax and listen to music and enjoy all the ciders. Yeah.
Very cool.
No, I was
Susan,
gonna
Kevin,
say that-
your reviews.
yeah, this is dangerous because it is. It's I opened it and right away I'm like, this is like champagne-esque for all, you know, what Charlie
Yeah.
It is.
mentioned, but like it's very light and refreshing. And usually I could see drinking more than one of these. Usually when I have a cider, it's like, okay, that was good. One
Yeah.
and done. It's a lot, but this could be dangerous on a hot day, Sarah.
Yeah,
It's delicious.
really-
All right. Well,
I really
you know,
noticed,
I'm adding a little danger to your life, Susan.
I actually kind of need some. Okay, like I'm in the sandwich generation. This is a good outlet for me.
Yeah, I agree with Charlie on usually cider to me has like almost like a muddy flavor to it, which I assume is the browning aspect of it, and I don't get that at all here.
Mm-mm.
It's very crisp, which is much more enjoyable, at least for me, when it comes to cider.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah,
would you-
where's it
Great.
currently being distributed?
So we're distributed all over Washington State at the moment, and that is about to change. So stay tuned. We have an effort right now ongoing on our website to sort of show all the different locations where you can go and purchase or enjoy the cider. So that'll be live in the coming weeks. And we're looking forward to national distribution in the not so distant future. So stay tuned.
Very cool. Very cool.
In the meantime, you can actually purchase the cider through Vino Shipper, and that's accessible on the
Oh, cool.
website, endlessorchardcider.com.
Nice. Thank you. All right, kind of back
Yeah.
to the technical topics at hand. You know, one of the things that I was intrigued about by the Cornell Alliance for Science was the real desire to try to take the benefits of some of the earlier generations of biotechnology to areas where it was most in need. The challenge with some of that was it was all being done under the cloud of the GMO backlash and the pushback around GMO in the developed world, and then of course in the developing world for a variety of reasons that we won't go into today. But from your perspective, what were the key drivers of that backlash, and how is biotech today applying those lessons to gene editing? Because you mentioned the incredible democratization of this generation of biotechnology, which is fascinating. The number of smaller companies that are bringing technology to market, the incredible array, 500 plus of applications coming to market in agriculture. It's a wonderful time to watch this come to life. But what lessons do we need to learn, and how do we apply them?
Yeah, it is an exciting time. And I think, you know, the short answer to that is it's all about the benefits, right? In the first generation of biotech crops, people didn't really understand what the benefits were because they didn't have a direct connection to the production of their food, right? Most of us aren't actively engaged in agriculture, and we didn't really experience the benefits that the growers, the 18 million farmers around the world that are growing biotech crops, they were experiencing direct benefits through, you know, easier management practices, reduced insecticides and pesticides, et cetera. Consumers, we didn't really experience any benefits directly, other than the fact that we had a safe, cheap food supply for the most part, at least in this country. And so in you know, this next generation, today we're seeing new applications that really do bring forward those direct benefits to consumers. So nutrition benefits, that's a huge driver for technology acceptance. We have now examples of not only, you know, healthy options like our apples that have a nutrition benefit in that we're making apples more accessible, but we also have products like the pink pineapple and the purple tomato. The purple tomato has, you know, an increased quantity of cancer-fighting nutrients, and those are benefits that get consumers pretty excited. We know that most people don't actually know that much about genome editing or gene editing or CRISPR, whatever term you want to use. But when they learn more about it, the majority feel really positive about it. And that's a study that we did at the Alliance for Science through the Foundation for Food and Agricultural Research. And so then when you look at that segment of consumers and you say, okay, so, you know, what are the drivers? What are the benefits that would really, you know, inspire you to accept gene editing? And the number one consistently in the research we did at the Alliance, but you see this in a number of different data sets, is that personal nutrition benefit. People are looking for products that are going to give them that benefit. And then number two are those sustainability benefits. So reduced water use comes up a lot, reduced pesticide use. So those are the drivers that are really fueling acceptance of gene editing. And I think, you know, in terms of your question about what did we learned that we need to lead with those benefits, absolutely, that we need more players in this space. We need more companies innovating. We need to make sure the public sector is able to play and innovate. And then finally, we need to be transparent. And this is an area where, Charlie, I know you and CFI have been so strong. We know that consumers, they want to know how their food was produced. And so as companies in this space, we all need to deliver on that commitment to transparency.
Great. Thank you.
You know,
Susan,
Sarah,
I'll turn it back over to you.
yeah. I'm always interested in new product innovation. I mean, this is Kevin's wheelhouse. And then, you know, we just torment Charlie with new products we see out there and try and get his opinion. But
And I buy most of them.
He does.
Not
really
Colgate
does.
lasagna.
No.
You mentioned several things that could have tremendous impact around reduced water, pesticide, replacing synthetic nitrogen. What do you think is going to have, if you could pick, which horse are you going to pick in terms of the greatest impact? And then if you could give us just what you think is one of the most fun consumer facing things out there, it might be the pink pineapple. And I don't know what that is.
Well, I'm not a one horse gal. I actually think the thing that I'm most excited about is that we don't have to focus on one horse. I'm excited about the fact that using gene editing really allows us to bundle technologies in a way that we didn't see with other forms of biotechnology. So what I'm most excited about are applications or companies that are both tackling challenges for growers as well as benefits for consumers. So this is something that we're doing a lot at Okanagan Specialty Fruits. So, you know, we have the grower benefit, right, and of less food loss, less apple loss, and we have the consumer benefit of less food waste and the extended shelf life. And as we continue to innovate at OSF, we're using CRISPR and gene editing to both tackle disease resistance. So these are really important traits for apple growers who have been struggling with some pretty devastating diseases. And at the same time, being able to continue to innovate and find new traits that are going to really drive consumer appeal. So I think this bundling is the most exciting thing. And we see other aspects of that too. There's, efforts both in I think about Joyce Van Eck, for example, at Cornell University and the Boyce Thompson Institute, who's bringing fruits forward that we not really ever seen in the grocery store, things like ground cherries and golden berries. And, so being able to work on basic domestication traits that allow us to bring new foods forward in the supermarket. And I mean, Susan, you know better than anyone that there's very little innovation in produce. So right. The produce aisle, for the most part, looks pretty much like it did 30, 40 years ago. I think the stat is that only 30% of the innovation in the supermarket is happening in the produce aisle. Yeah. And so the more we can do to use these tools to innovate and make healthy fruits and vegetables more desirable, more convenient, tastier, a more consistent tasty flavor, the more we're going to be able to tackle the dietary crisis that we have in this country as well. So I think, bundling those two pieces of, really trying to create options that will create a healthier society in terms of our own personal nutrition, bundled with being able to create sustainable and regenerative solutions for growers. That's, I think, the double win that I'm most excited about.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So, I think in terms of the produce aisle and not a lot of change, but I do think that a lot of taste and some of the experience has denigrated with the work that's been done to make it more shippable or whatever. So this seems like that's going to bring some of that back, as well as bring some new flavor experiences. And I'm also listening to you talk about this because one of the things that's really prohibitive for some people is obviously logistics and supply, getting access to fresh, but the cost of it. And if there's more efficiencies, less waste here, that also seems like that's a win in terms of that accessibility to the consumer. This is super exciting, Sarah.
Yeah,
It is
and
indeed.
I think a lot about access, you know, as a parent, right? And I think about, you know, parents that have many more challenges than I have. You know, maybe they are working 3 jobs. They don't have time to go to the supermarket every week. They're on a fixed income, and they can't take risks when it comes to purchasing produce. They need to know that they're purchasing a product that's going to be consistent in flavor and that their kids are going to want to consume. No risks, right? And so the more we can fuel innovation in this specialty crop space, the more we're going to be able to tackle flavor and be able to create consistent products that kids love and that all members of a household enjoy. So, you know, specialty crops are hard to work in, and that's, you know, part of, I think, why they haven't experienced as much attention as other crops. And CRISPR and gene editing really makes it much more easy to work in these otherwise sort of difficult and sometimes neglected crops.
Cool. All right, we're going to switch gears and we're going to move to the quiz. Sarah, we could talk to you and learn from you all day long, but Kevin, our quiz master, has a quiz ready for us. So away we go.
I do. And, you know,
Kevin, I just want to say that this is the reason why I told Charlie I would do this podcast, because I'm a huge Wait, Don't Tell Me fan. And I'm like, I want Carl Castle on my answering machine. And this is the way I'm going to get it.
You're going to get Charlie. He's got a pretty good tone.
He does. Yes. Yeah, you couldn't
go.
ask for better. So I always try to make the quiz something that I'm, you know, it's not definitely a direct link to what we're talking about, just so that, you know, we're not, especially giving any, you know, upside to our guests if they decide to play. So this time it is packaged food origins of nostalgic 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So like, what do we remember from this time, and what are the classic, you know, packaged foods? So I'll start off. Okay, the first one, Capri Sun. We all remember Capri Sun. So that's kind of the link to this, in the sense of that it's kind of, you know, in the sense of, you know, juice and all that stuff. So Capri Sun was invented when and where? Was it A, by the High C Company in 1981 as a way to modernize their drink production technology? Was it B, by the Department of Defense U.S. Army's Combat Feeding Directive in 1978 as a technology to provide electrolyte-rich fluid to combat troops? Was it C, by a West German drink company, Labella, in 1969 to use opaque packaging to obscure the lack of food coloring available to them? Or was it D, by Bausch Technologies, the largest makers of IV bags, in 1979 as a way to leverage excess capacity and expand their patented bag filling technology? So High C, U.S. Army, West German drink company, or IV bags.
So, Kevin, how do you make up the 3 false?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I know.
I'm gonna go with bags. I'm gonna go with bags. I'm gonna go with IV bags.
IV bags. Charlie, Susan, or Sarah?
I'm going to go C. I'm going to go Bausch.
You're going to go Bausch. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're also going IV bags. That's what Charlie had.
Oh, wait. What was the one before? The German ones without
West German.
No, the German.
West German. Yeah.
Without the food coloring.
Yes. Yep. Okay. You're going to do that, Sarah?
Well, you know, I was just in Germany and all the kids were drinking Capri Sun, which I was surprised. So I'm a little tempted to go there, but I think I'm going to just, in the spirit of diversity, go for B.
Well, you are correct. It is actually C. No, it's actually is West Virginia, West Germany. So it was developed in West Germany. It was called Capri Sun, S-O-N-N-E, to your point. And it was named after a very popular, you know, a vacation spot for Germans, Capri. And this is this is the era of Capri pants and everything. This is where we got this from. So absolutely, it was actually part of the company Labella, which is still around. They actually partnered with a sewing machine company for the pouch design. So Capri.
Bonus points if you can work in bell bottoms to the next one.
Right. Okay, next one, TCBY. We all remember TCBY was a mainstay of the 1980s. The name stands for the country's best yogurt. Now, But what did its initials originally stand for when it was first began?
It didn't.
Was it? No, it didn't start off that way. Was it, this can't be yogurt? Was it totally customized, brilliantly yours? Was it taste created before you? Or was it tangy, creamy bowl of yogurt?
This can't be yogurt.
Charlie says this can't be yogurt.
Is that the first one?
That was
Yep.
the first one.
Okay.
I'm going for A as well.
Okay.
I'll just be different. I'll go for the dorkiest one. I'll go for D.
D, tangy, creamy bowl of yogurt.
Yeah.
It is A. It is A. I didn't fool you on that one. So they were sued by I Can't Believe It's Yogurt. And they decided to redo their initials because they had to. They had to change it up. So the country's best yogurt.
They were
All right.
sued by I Can't Believe It's Yogurt. Someone
Yeah.
already had that?
Yes. Just like I Can't Believe It's Not Butter. Yeah. So there was a whole thing during the 80s. The next one, this one might be, it depends on how much you travel. Cool Ranch Doritos was introduced in 1986 and propelled Doritos sales exponentially. While Cool Ranch Doritos are sold around the world, they are not sold by that name. Other parts of the world do not know what ranch is. So what are they called in the rest of the world? Are they called A, Creamy Spice, B, Cool Nacho, C, Cool Extreme, or D, Cool American?
Cool Spice.
Cool Spice.
Cool nacho.
Cool Nacho.
I'm going to go C.
Cool Extreme. You are all incorrect. It is Cool American.
No.
Cool American.
Whoa.
They're known
Thought of as ranch
everywhere-
dressing.
Everywhere in the world, they're known as Cool American, except in the UK, they're known as Cool Original. But everywhere else in the world, it's Cool American is
I'll be
what
darned.
Cool Ranch is. So if you're ever anywhere and you want ranch, Cool Ranch, just ask for Cool American.
I'm just going to take a little Hidden Valley and put it right behind each ear.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're like, look at that Cool American.
Yeah.
Next one, Hawaiian Punch has been a popular kids drink for decades, but it didn't start out that way. What was Hawaiian Punch when it was originally introduced? Was it A, an ice
For
cream?
bad church. It was for bad church. Bad church. Hawaiian
Right,
Punch.
exactly. Church basement drink. Was it A, an ice cream syrup topping, B, a hard candy, C, a shaved ice, or D, an alcoholic mixer?
I'm gonna
Alcoholic
go-
mixer.
Yeah, I'm going to go alcoholic mixer as well.
Shaved ice.
You are all incorrect. It is an ice cream syrup topping.
Really?
So Leo's is originally called Leo's Hawaiian Punch, was created as an ice cream topping syrup in 1934 by A.W. Leo. And it originally contained 5 juices that were all imported from Hawaii: orange, pineapple, passion fruit, guava, and papaya. Then R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company bought Pacific Hawaiian in 1962, and they turned it next into an alcoholic mixer before it became a drink mix. But people started taking the ice cream syrup and diluting it and drinking it. And that's how it became a drink.
Oh.
Last one, Nerds Candy was launched in 1983. However, Nerds had a very brief spin-off candy that failed to gain traction. What was the spin-off called? Was it called Geeks, which was a chewy Starburst-like candy and flavors like vanilla and chocolate? Was it Dorks, a creamy cookie candy with a chocolate shell? Was it C, Dweebs, a soft and chewy fruity candy? Or D, Goofs, tie-dyed colored jelly bean-like candies? So Geeks, Dorks, Dweebs, Goofs.
Geeks.
Geeks.
Goofs.
Goofs.
C.
Sarah. C, Dweebs. Sarah's correct.
Dweebs.
Dweebs.
What?
Way to go.
Yay.
Dweebs were a soft and
Man.
chewy version of Nerds that came out in 3 flavors in one
Wow.
box. Nerds is in 2 flavors in one box. Very short-lived.
Very interesting. Kevin, you're a master of trivia, and we appreciate that every single month. So thanks for doing this for us.
Absolutely.
And thank you for listening. Susan, Sarah, thanks for being here today. A great session. We look forward to seeing you again next month. 3Squares, we'll be talking about trust, a favorite topic of mine. So have a great 4th. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you again next time on 3Squares. Again, remember, you can always reach out to us at 3squaresmail@gmail.com. That's the numeral 3squaresmail@gmail.com. And we'll see you in July. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye. Thank you.